This episode of Let's Talk Vocal Health is brought to you by Superior Vocal Health, the most widely used and trusted all-natural vocal healthcare formulas in the music industry. Each product in Superior Vocal Health's line of herbal formulas is specifically designed to address one of the many issues that singers experience. Whether it's clogged sinuses, phlegm in the throat, or an overused and tired voice, Superior Vocal Health has an individualized formula to address each vocal challenge. When it comes to your voice, trust the #1 vocal healthcare company in the music industry, Superior Vocal Health. Use the promo code Vocal Health in the checkout box when ordering to receive 10% off every order.
Hello, my name is David Aaron Katz, and I'd like to welcome you to Let's Talk Vocal Health. Today we have an amazing guest, David DiMuzio. David, welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David. It's been great getting to know you over the last few years.
Absolutely, I agree. Before we begin, you know what I want to do? I just want to do a little shout out for you so everybody knows who you are and what you've done. You should know David has an amazing voice, first of all, an unbelievable voice, an incredible performer. He has like close to 800,000 followers between his Facebook, his YouTube, all this great stuff. Not only that, he's producer, songwriter, movies in China. The list goes on and on and on. Check him out, daviddimuzio.com, also his YouTube channel. But that's enough on you, David. I want to get to talk vocal health. How's that sound?
Me too.
All right, great. So David, first and foremost, as I always want to know from everybody, just to give everybody else a background, how long have you been basically singing, performing professionally? Because that's really what we're trying to find out here.
Professionally, boy, 17-ish years, I think. Yeah, around that sort of range. So badly for probably the first 5 of those. But what's fortunate, you don't have to be a great singer to make a living as a singer necessarily, you know, as long as you have enough other tricks up your sleeve.
Oh my God. So, don't tell the young singers that today. Don't tell them. Well, yeah. So 17 years. So let's say professionally and really gigging, what would you say the real gigging on the road, shows after shows after shows, how long been doing that for?
At least 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 years. So my first question really to all you seasoned, you know, performers out there, how do you take care of your voice when you're out there doing that? I know it's a general statement. I'm going to come in a little tighter on it, but in general, in specific, actually, do you find when you're out there doing this, does your voice take a beating show after show after show, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the best thing that you can do, to me, is actually less talking. I find that more so than singing, talking messes my voice up more so, especially talking in loud places. So I'm more likely to hurt my voice talking after the show in a bar or club, or I remember the first time I had a concert, Teatrino in the Philippines. It's a big theater venue, and like my voice did fine throughout the concert. But then I went to this club, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna have an after party for you." And like I went to this club, and boy, because of that, I couldn't speak for like a week. And it was totally fine until I got to the club, but then talking over the loud music, you know? And then also, if you are drinking alcohol, I don't think I drank because I generally don't really drink, but if you're drinking alcohol, it makes it even worse, all of that sort of thing. So it's actually the extracurricular things outside of the singing I find is much worse for your voice than proper singing most of the time.
I have to agree with you entirely. The talking is actually even harder on the voice than singing because you don't use the proper support and you don't get to project and all that stuff, and we tend to come right out of here. So then you turn around and sing, right? You're beat up. Wow. So in terms of that, you kind of gave me a great segue, which I was going into anyways. Let's say you've done that and you have shows to do the next day, the next week, the next month. What are some of the things you do that keep your voice in line and healthy when you've, unfortunately, because sometimes you have to do that. You may have producers, managers, fans, whatever, right? You don't want to be rude and all that. So how do you recover? What do you do to get yourself back in for the next show?
Yeah, basically you just have to cope around that. So whether that's lowering the key of the song if it's necessary, just playing in a lower key, changing even potentially like melodic parts of that song, adjusting. You'll notice the Goo Goo Dolls whenever they perform Iris, that "Don't want the world to see me," that song. They sing it so differently live, and I think it's because it's just a really hard song to sing, and so he like changes the whole melody. Or maybe just the night that I saw him, his voice was really tired and he just had a show the night before, and so the same kind of thing. So you do that. I will. I mean, definitely, I use your vocal products, so that's my first go-to, to see if I can get my voice back. Is I especially the gargling one where you put the hot water in there.
Vocal rest.
Yeah, the vocal rest. Yeah, like I'll use that. So that's pretty much my go-to first thing that I do is I use your gargle stuff. But if my voice, I don't think I've had it where it really like didn't come back unless it was really screwed up. Like I said, from really over talking, where then you just have to rest. So that's
Yes.
pretty much all you can do.
So rest is a
Get
very.
lots of sleep.
What would you recommend in terms of rest? I know that it's difficult sometimes. You're traveling, you got schedules, you got sound checks, you got perhaps even interviews if you're out there. But I remember the greatest tenor probably of our century, last century, Pavarotti. I read this interview where he said if it's a major performance, then he recommends at least 10 hours sleep the next night before you even sing, and then rest up the day of. So are you able to do that? I mean, is that even possible?
I think that's a great idea. Now it all comes down to the person, the individual, and how they respond to sleep. I think our vocal cords in some way are tied to just our bodies, right? So they are part of our bodies. And so some people don't need a lot of sleep. Like I was watching Elon Musk gets 6 hours of sleep. And there's a lot of those guys that get 6 hours of sleep. Me, if I got 6 hours of sleep, I would feel horrible. So, like, I need, really, to be honest, I need 9 hours of sleep. Whenever I get 8 hours of sleep, it's not enough for me. So, last night, I slept 10 hours. I slept 10 hours. Like, and I felt good when I woke up. That's when I naturally woke up. So I sleep a lot. Now, my friend Carlo, who sings background vocals for me when I tour in the Philippines, he can get like 3 hours of sleep and his voice is totally fine. He sings like, Sebastian Bach in his prime with 3 hours of sleep. But that's just the way he is. Like he just doesn't need as much sleep. So I think you really just need to know your own body and know what amount of sleep you need. If I was gonna personally do a big show, I would really try and get 9 hours of sleep.
I'm the same way, especially when it's coming to opera and things like that. I even go get a hotel room away from my family in near the performance hall or whatever to have no sound, so I can just really get a good night's sleep. But that brings me into the next phase, which is diet. Also, let's talk diet a little bit in terms of you and how you take care of your voice, but is it intermixed? Do you have a specific diet that you stick to that is for your voice that doesn't create mucus or does or helps give you energy, things like that? And of course, before a show, do you eat? A lot of people always want to know that. A lot of questions there, but take it as you want.
Yeah, I just mainly try and get enough fluids. That's pretty much it. I don't notice that cheese changes my voice much. I know a lot of people they don't eat cheese. I don't drink milk like at all personally, so that's not an issue for me. But I do eat a lot of cheese. I've never noticed that after eating more or less cheese. That's pretty much the only dairy I guess that I eat. that changes my voice. I eat a lot of dark chocolate. I've never noticed that that's affected my voice unless I've literally just like scarfed a big bar of dark chocolate and immediately try and sing. But as long as I got like 10 minutes after eating chocolate, I'm good. So the one thing is just I wake up and I don't have the cup here, but I have a cup. It's like this big, and I do like chamomile tea. I put apple cider vinegar. I put cayenne in it. I do like turmeric, mushroom mycelium. I just like every possible thing that might be good for you. I basically put, like, they could come in liquidish form you could drink. I put in this cup and have that giant cup when I wake up. Lemon, I squeeze lemon in it. I think I said turmeric, cinnamon. I just throw all this stuff that I kind of know is good for you. So like that's how I start my day, and that, yeah, that seems to help. I did a show the other day and it was really rushed. It was a morning show, and so I didn't do my big cup, of liquid and liquid and other things, but yeah, and my like it was a 3 hour performance, and about, I don't know, 2 hours into that, I really started feeling like just I didn't my voice felt odd, I would say. It was like not tired, but it just wasn't like snapping the way it should, and I realized, oh shoot, I actually have had nothing to drink. So here I am, like 5 hours into my day or 6 hours into my day, and like I've had no water at all, and so I'm 100% sure that that's what it was, because it just felt very like, yeah, it just felt abnormal, like my voice.
So your body must really get used to that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So the voice, and you and I've talked about this before in the past about the body is the voice is the body, health, everything. So like the vocal athlete, you're like a regular athlete, right? It's amazing that you talked about that drink, and people should know this and they're watching. We did not coordinate this. I can't believe you said it, because I almost do the exact same drink every morning.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I put a little in it because, as you know, we spoke before. I'm a big yoga guy, so I do yoga in the mornings. But I will do this grass drink, which has barley grass, wheat grass, all kinds of grasses, plus matcha for energy. I'll mix that in with an apple cider vinegar, cayenne, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon.
Yeah, I do ginger too
Almost
sometimes.
all
Yeah.
the same stuff you do. And it's like, not only is it great, I think, vocally, and it gives your body what it needs, like you said, when you go to sing, which you kind of felt you missed. It's also remarkable for your entire digestive system to start the morning that way. I also threw in flax oil, and I use
Ooh.
lemon, like you said, and warm water, because I don't put the cold water in my system in the morning. But I
Yep.
think I agree with
Yeah,
you.
mine's hot too. Mine's like a hot tea.
It has a for sure effect on the voice and the health overall, because wouldn't you say that our energy is our voice? If we don't have bodily energy and we're not functioning well and the energy's not moving, then the voice isn't going to be moving.
Yep, totally. So let's talk about warm up. I'm gonna just jump into the
I was going
question.
to ask you
Part of
what
that.
you do before shows, and do
I
daily and regularly.
feel like that's the next
Yeah.
step of the day. So what I do, I have a couple go-to songs and that I do for warm-ups. So I used to do all kinds of vocal warm-ups, all of the vocal trills and tongue things and like all kinds of stuff like that. These days, I really just I sing songs as my exercises, and I don't actually do any more vocal exercises per se. I actually the only thing I do is sort of an exercise is I just like scream out high notes. So I just sort of like almost like a siren down. I just go really high and then just like kind of siren down. But that's the only kind of warm up thing that I'll do, and I do it kind of like an '80s rock singer type thing. I'm gonna try to show you. I haven't warmed up at all today, but so yeah, so basically, like I do two things to warm up. One, I sing Michael Jackson's song "Rock with You," that Fever is the feeling now. You know that song, right? Because it's like 100% falsetto.
All
Um,
I was gonna say the exact.
yeah, it's 100% falsetto, and so that's like my favorite thing to do for warm up is sing that song and "I Want to Be Your Lover" by Prince because I ain't got no money. I ain't like those other boys that hang around. Because it's like super easy, right? So it's kind of like high. It's in a different place than you're talking, but by the
Little
time I get through that, it gets me into this like higher register place, you know? Um,
so
yeah,
how
because it
long
does what's
ago, if I can just ask you, because it's
sure.
occurring to me. So how long ago did that become the warm up versus when you were doing like vocal exercise and trills? When did it shift when you knew you could trust vocally and vocal health wise that you'd be okay? Because that didn't happen right away, right? You didn't do that years.
No, it didn't. It's hard to know whether I think that would have been the better thing to do to start or not, or if it's just something that I grew into. Um, but yeah, probably I started doing that about 2 to 3 years ago, where I now just sing those songs, you know. Yeah, and that's it. I find I don't know because I want to spend a lot of time practicing songs. And so I find that like warm ups, one, it's time. So I want to like focus the amount of time and like what I get out of my time, right? So if I only have an hour to sing and my warm up is 30 minutes, it's like I don't really get a lot of real singing time, right? And I want to really focus on practicing songs and doing stuff like recording songs and stuff. I also found for performing, I used to do a lot of warm ups before performing, and then I would often find that my voice would get tired during the show because I'd warmed up too much, you know. And so,
Hold on one sec to that too, David. I got to give you one. My first voice teacher, remarkable guy, Italian school opera, first opera I did. He said, "Now, before you go to the opera in the dressing, when you're in your room, don't leave your high notes in the dressing room."
yeah,
Same exact thing. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Don't warm yourself up so you don't have any notes to before." Just what you said. That's absolutely great advice for people. Great advice.
yeah, once you've kind of started to get a handle on your own voice, I think it just that becomes the better way of being. It's interesting because I performed with this tenor. Yeah, he did some big roles, Fan of the Opera and all that kind of stuff. Thomas Griffin is his name, or Griffiths or something. Anyway, he's done some pretty big stuff, and we did a show together, and I was like backstage with him, and he wasn't singing at all, and I was with him the whole time. I was like, "Are you gonna warm up?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna sing just a couple notes before I go on stage." And I was like, "Just a couple notes?" It was the same thing, kind of like I do now, where I literally I just go. So it's so like weird to do this on whoa, like I just kind of scream out like that's the first time I've sung all day, but I just literally scream out some really high like notes. Whoa. So like that's my warm up is like whoa. But see, now I've got it. Like once I've literally just like yeah, once you've kind of like gotten your chords to figure out how to close up there, then they'll sort of I just do that probably like 5 or 6 times, and at first it'll break the first couple of times, and then it'll start closing in. So, and he, go ahead.
Just to ask you again, these questions keep occurring to me because it's so fantastic for people watching. We could have people who are total pros like you and beginning singers, who are starting. Would you recommend that for somebody who's just starting to get into professional gigging, or would you say find your voice a little more beforehand? Because you're an experienced pro,
Yeah.
where your voice clicks. I as well, but I'm not sure I'd recommend that to a student who's just starting a career. What do you think about that for vocal health in terms of surviving?
Um, so it really totally depends on where you're at. But I think for a show, like what your top notes are, right? Like wherever you are in your progression of singing what the top of your voice is. So I would say for that, yes, for a performer, they should very quickly find what they know already is the top of their voice. And then that should be their warm up. Because once they've already kind of like hit it once or twice, like it's already there, you know? So to push it beyond that, like what's the point? Like if they've already hit it, you know? Now, would I initially just sing like the top of my voice note? Maybe not, you know. It also depends on like where you're at in the day, like how long you've been awake for, all that stuff. So like if you've just woken up, you're 30 minutes out of bed, maybe you shouldn't scream the highest note. Maybe you should sing like I do. I mean, I actually do sing those Michael Jackson and Prince songs, you know. So by the time I've done the I wanna be your lover, I wanna be your mother and make you come running. And so I do these that so it's got like a little bit of squeeze to it, like the running. You know, it's not like totally just total breathy or like there's another part in that song where you all night long make you shout all over, yeah. You know, so it's got like that part of the make you shout part kind of like squeezes a little bit. It's still falsetto, but yeah. So then once I've done that, then I've gotten through the song, voice warmed up. Then I just scream, yeah, higher notes. So I'll do like yeah, yeah. So like. Yeah, so by the time, so you can already hear, like, versus the first time I did that versus this new time, it's already feels more together at the top. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
Well,
so I probably do that like 5 or 6 times, and then it's there.
going back to what you said about songs beforehand, I think that don't you feel in terms of vocally for the real quality health of your voice that once you perform certain songs over and over that you sing really well that you love, when you go to sing them in a warm up, it's almost like you're engaging the muscles right into where they want to be versus if you're doing so it might be
Yep.
even more advantageous to do the songs like you said because they just kick you right in so you don't need a warm up. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's 2 things. And also getting your body going. So I'm sitting down now, right? But I'll generally do this standing up. And I'll try, if I'm not singing one of those songs, you know, the other thing that I sing along with very recently though, is Aretha Franklin's You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. But only her performance that's on YouTube of her doing it live at the Carole King concert. I literally have like cried so many times watching this. It's one of the most emotionally moving performances I've ever seen in my life. And it's such an emotionally moving performance. And obviously she's Aretha